install Unreal Engine 4, you need to make yourself an account with Epic Games at unrealengine.com. After you've made yourself an account, navigate to your dashboard, press the download button underneath Get Unreal Engine. It's in the Download tab. You will want to choose between Windows or Mac, depending on your OS. When you've finished installing the engine, open the Epic Games launcher and sign in. You will then be greeted with a home page. Navigate to the Unreal Engine tab, then Library, then install Unreal Engine 4. We will be using version 4.10 for this course. If 4.10 isn't immediately available on your screen, go to the Add Versions button and press it. This will put a grayed out box with the engine version in your library. Click the drop-down box, select 4.10, and then click Install. While we're waiting for this to download, we're going to get some free marketplace assets to help us add some extras to our game. Now, while it may be tempting to purchase some of these blueprint packs, you should generally stay away from those if you plan on learning how to develop a game. Many of them add new things to your game, but you won't actually learn how to do any of it yourself, which is important if you want to add on to your game. Many of them also aren't compatible with each other and will cause problems in development. So, the first asset we're going to get is the Mixamo Animation Pack. This will give us a variety of characters to use with our project. I'm also going to grab the Infinity Blade Grasslands for the level we're going to build. You can get any of the Infinity Blade asset packs thanks to Epic Games releasing them for free. They are all high-quality assets, which will help you make your game look great. You don't need these, but I will be using them when it comes time to build our level. When your engine is downloaded and installed, you will need to go back to your library and click Launch. When it launches, you'll see this screen. We need to navigate to New Project. I'm going to be using the first-person blueprint template. I would suggest that you use the same, as it will affect how we're going to build our character. I will, however, be teaching you how to create your own character, so you can change the view later. Now, when you first open up your engine, you're going to see a bunch of different menus. At first, this can be quite intimidating, but once you get in the swing of things, it's actually quite easy to understand. Up in the top left corner, you see the standard File, Edit, Window, and Help. Underneath File, there are a lot of different options, most of which will be explained when we actually use them. The main option you're going to use is Save All. This saves all changes that you may have forgotten to save, which will be very helpful once we start using Unreal's different UIs. Edit is mainly comprised of hotkeys that you can memorize. That would be extremely helpful. We'll mostly be using Ctrl-S for saving, Ctrl-C for copying, and Ctrl-X for cutting. Window has many different options to configure the UI. We'll be getting more into this once we get further into development. Below that, we have our Modes menu. This gives us access to many different features. We'll be using Place for standard objects like lights, shapes, BSPs, and volumes. Landscape is used for creating a wide variety of terrains. Foliage is used to paint objects onto a landscape. The last one we will be using is Geometry Edit. This is used to edit BSPs and give them a bit more variance. I'll be showing you these in much more detail once we come to the level design portion of our course. Down in the bottom left corner, I have my content browser. Now, your Unreal Editor may not have this here, but if it doesn't, you can go to Window and select Content Browser 1. If Content Browser 1 is already placed somewhere, you can just drag and drop it into this space. I would suggest doing this, as it will be easier to follow along if your content browser is here. The content browser is used for finding objects in your project. This can be a blueprint script, a level asset, a material, or anything else in your project. Here, under Add New, you have options to create assets. We'll be using this quite a bit, which is another reason you want a content browser in your engine UI at all times. In the center of the engine is what we call the viewport. This gives you a look into your level and allows you to move around and see what's happening. To move around, hover over the viewport, hold the right mouse button, and move your mouse around. To move forward, backwards, left, or right, you need to be holding down the right mouse button and use the WASD keys. You can also use Q for moving down and E for moving up. Above the viewport, we have a lot of different options as well. Save for quick saving, source control that allows project sharing between multiple team members, content is for opening the content browser, marketplace is for opening up the marketplace, settings to give us some easy accessible options that we will go over soon, blueprints for easy blueprint setting access, Cinematics for use with Unreal Matinee, which we will go over later. Build to build your level's lighting, geometry, and some other minor things. Play, which allows you to play your level. Finally, we have Launch, which allows you to launch a standalone program on your computer or another device connected to Unreal. Now, just to go back over one quick thing in this menu bar, let's go under Settings. Go under Engine Scalability. If you have trouble running your game at high graphics, you can go to this and change the quality. On the right, we have our world outliner for all placed objects in our level. You can use this to find objects you may have placed. This is extremely helpful when you start having bigger levels. Underneath that, we have our Details panel, which gives us details about any selected object in our level. The next tab in this panel is World Settings. This has many different options we'll also go over later. In this engine, you're also able to change how it's laid out dramatically. As you can see here, I can move my windows around, drag them out, close them, and even add new ones. We're going to take a deeper look into our viewport now. You already know how to move around in the viewport, but let's say you need to be really precise on where you place an object. We're going to look at the orthographic views. To change your view in Unreal, you're going to want to click this button here, currently the Perspective button. You then get a list of all the different views. You can also click the button in the top right corner, which gives you multiple options at once. You can change the size of each, giving you a much better view on what you want. You can also change the view type, and these are very important. For now, we're just going to stick with unlit and lit. You can switch between these by using Alt-3 for unlit and Alt-4 for lit. To the right, we have some more tools. These are used to manipulate objects in your level. From left to right, we have Translation for moving your object up, down, left, and right. Rotation for rotating. And Scale for changing the size of your object. When you select an object and use one of these tools, you'll get this tool highlight on the object. You can left-click this and move your mouse to move, rotate, or scale your object. Next, we have World versus Local Translation. We're going to be using World Translation the entire series, so there isn't any need to change this. After that, we have Surface Snapping, which snaps your object to the closest surface. We won't need to use this, as pressing the End button on your keyboard snaps any selected object to the closest surface underneath it. Next, we have the World Grid tool, which we will need to use. It keeps objects on the world grid, which is extremely important when making precise fittings in your world. To the right of that, we have Grid Snapping Amount, which just moves an object based on the number selected. For example, if it's set to 10, it will move an object 10 Unreal units when using the Translation tool. Next, we have Rotation Snapping, which is the same as Translation Snapping, but with rotation. The number next to that is the amount of degrees it snaps rotation to. Next, we have Scale Snapping, which snaps scale to a number. The number after that is the amount in which it scales your object up when using the Scale tool. Finally, we have Camera Speed. Camera speed can be changed by this toolbar, or you can use the mouse wheel when holding right-click inside the viewport. The final thing we're going to look at in the engine is the content browser. We're going to open up a bigger version of it though so we can take a better look. Go under Window and click Content Browser 2. Let's maximize this. The first thing you're going to see is these 4 folders, unless you've already added other assets to your project. Now, the content browser is pretty similar to the file browser in Windows or Mac. You can double-click to enter a folder, right-click to make a new folder, etc. However, when you start getting more and more files in your project, it can be hard to find some of them. You probably won't be able to remember all of the names, So let me show you the filter option. The filter option allows you to only filter in objects you select in this drop-down menu. For example, if you were trying to find a blueprint character, what you would do is go under this list, select Blueprints, and then Blueprint Class. This will still give you a pretty big list though, so it's best to name your objects well. I'll teach you a few naming techniques when we start creating assets to help you out in this aspect. Down in the bottom right, we have a menu called View Options. This is how you can change the layout of the folders and assets. You also have the option to change the scale. Play around with this a bit to get a more comfortable view. You want to do that back in the engine view though, as you probably don't want your content browser maximized at all times. This is about all we'll need to know before we start developing our game. The last thing we're going to do before we start working on the game is add those asset packs we had downloaded from the store. To do this, open up your Epic Games Launcher, go to your library, scroll down, and find your asset packs. After that, just select Add to Project, click on your project, and then select Add to Project again. This will load the assets into your project. Make sure to go back into Unreal and check in your content browser. You should see those packs as brand new folders. We've taken a look at the main engine user interface, learned about tools for level design, and browsed our way through some content in the content browser. The next step for us in this game development series is to start developing. Level design can be a pretty rigorous process. To any first-timer, level design probably seems like the easiest part of the game development process. In actuality, level design is one of the more time-consuming and difficult pieces of game development, especially for first-timers. It's almost like writing an essay. There's a lengthy process. You have an outline, revisions, additions, and things you'll need to take out. We're going to go over a process called the level design workflow. The complete process from start to finish of building your level. The level design workflow starts with an idea. The idea of your level can come from anything. Another game you saw, a picture, a place you went to, or even just an idea that happened to pop in your head. The idea doesn't have to be complicated either. It can be as simple as the beach or a lighthouse. What I do when I have an idea is write it down on a Word document and then start daydreaming of what it would look like. I then write down any details I think about. For example, the beach. It has a yellowish lighting, white sand, foamy waves, clear sky with just a few clouds in it, and it feels happy. You then ask yourself, what's on this beach? I would say towels laid out, coolers for families, beach umbrellas, and some small sand piles where kids have played. You then ask yourself, where do these people walk on the beach? I would say that there's an entrance that's made of dark walnut wood, a lifeguard station near the entrance, and a few paths to get to the main parts of the beach. Right now, I've got a pretty good idea of how it would look. I then want to go to the next part of the process, which is the walkthrough. Before that, though, let's review the thought process behind expanding your idea. Feel free to add your own. I keep mine in a document to remember them all. Number 1 is dream the scene. Number 2 is ask yourself what the scene feels like. Number 3, ask yourself what the scene looks like. Number 4 is ask yourself what's in the scene. And finally, number 5 is ask yourself how would people get around in this scene. This helps you expand your original thought into a realistic idea for a level. Now, remember to dream big for this part of the process. This is an original idea that you can cut down on later, but you don't want to stop yourself thinking of ideas, as you can tap into some great things. The second step of the level design workflow is the walkthrough. This is the point in which you'll want to draw out what you think the level will look like. This is simply something to give yourself an idea of what it would look like. It will change dramatically once you actually start building it in Engine. You can do something as simple as draw it on a piece of paper, or even in a Paint document. It doesn't need to be detailed at all. You won't really be using this once you get into building your level, but it's something good to go off when your creative thought process comes to a halt. You want to get everything laid out while you still have the idea in your head, as building a level is a time-consuming process. I usually draw out a bird's eye view map of what the level would look like. You don't have to be an artist to do this. This is for you and you alone. The third step of the level design process is prototyping. This is where you actually start to build your level. You'll want to pick the best parts of your walkthrough out, and cut in only pieces that go with your original idea and seem like a structural part. things like pathways, places you want to go into, etc. Don't focus on how it looks right now, as that will come later. You want to be using BSPs for building this. A big part of what hindered me early on as a level designer was wanting everything to look beautiful at the very beginning. This is something that comes much later. If you start trying to make everything look beautiful at the beginning, you'll get creatively stuck very quickly. On top of that, the main focus of your level should be playability, and not how it looks. Remember, you're building a playable level, not a movie scene. Don't misunderstand, we want it to look as great as possible, but if we wait until the end to focus on how it looks, we get a great look and great playability. You'll also want to have some playtesters to give you feedback on playability. They should be able to navigate through your level without asking questions, and it should feel fluid. The fourth step of the level design process is the outline. This is the part where you want to add bigger structures to your level. Things like boundaries of your level, extra walls, buildings, etc. You'll still want to be using BSPs though, as in level design, you most likely won't have your art assets built yet. This is still just the idea process prior to sending it off to artists who build the actual assets for your level. The fifth step of the level design process is the playable level. You want to start adding lights, replacing the big blocky versions of your level with smaller, more detailed ones, and have some people playtest your level again. Don't focus so much on how it looks. This is more for additions to playability than anything. Light should illuminate everything well and add to your scene. The sixth step of the level design process is the polishing phase. You'll want to start replacing the BSPs with actual art assets. You also want to add more pieces to your level. For example, on the beach, I would now start placing my beach umbrellas and the towels on the sand. These are things that don't change the way players play the level, but add more detail. You'll also want to start tweaking lighting to go better with your newer art assets. After you've done this, you'll want to make a second pass on your level and start adding in even smaller details. Things like pieces of trash on the ground, adjusting the light colors, and adding more variance to the terrain to make it seem more realistic. The final step in the level design workflow is the tweaking phase. This is where you'll want to play through your level and fix everything that seems off. An example would be glitches or things placed incorrectly. To review what we've gone over, the steps in the level design process are idea gathering, the walkthrough, prototyping, outline, playable level, polishing, and tweaking. Following these steps will help you stay on track creatively and make your level the best it can be. Now that we've gone over the level design workflow, let's use that process to get started on our own level. The level that I'm going to build is going to be castle themed. It's going to be daylight and have some dark tunnels that all connect to a main courtyard. Now, to create our level, we're going to want to go up to File and then select New Level. When the new level screen opens, you're going to see two different options. The first one is a starter level. The next is an empty level. The starter level comes with a skybox, a player start, and some other quick start things. I usually start with the starter level when I'm building levels in a daytime scene. I use the empty levels for indoor levels, or levels that you can't see the sky. Now, we're going to add some geometry to our level to get the foundation together. The first thing that we're going to do is get all of our rooms and pathways together. For this, we're going to use BSPs. These allow us to get the architecture of the level together without needing static meshes, which will come in later in the level design process. A little information on the use of BSPs. They are great for adding an initial architecture to your level, but aren't for a final product. They can't be manipulated by blueprints and cannot be moved during runtime. Also, I've found that BSPs generally have more lighting issues than static meshes. If you're building a game for fun, don't plan on releasing it, and don't have money for art assets, it's a decent solution to your problem. However, I recommend downloading a program like Blender, which is a free 3D modeling program, to build art assets for your level if you don't have any. After you've got all your initial pathways together, you'll want to start running around your level and assessing how it feels. If it feels like you can easily run through the level without any problems, then you've achieved a playable, fluid level. You can change parts of your level as you add more things to it as well. It'll start to feel more like an actual level as you start adding the bigger features. When you feel like your level is playable and good enough to move on, it's time to start adding walls. This is a big test to see if your level is fluid enough not to be confusing. Walls add a new aspect to the scene that makes players unable to see everything at one time. This can make the level extremely confusing, depending on how open your level is. If it seems too confusing after playing through, take some time to adjust it and take some pathways out. That, or you can add windows to the outside, so players can get a better feel as to where they are. You can also add identifying features in your level to give them an idea of where they are, such as a statue. That way, when they walk past that statue, they think, oh, I know where I am now. Another thing to keep in mind when you're building your walls is how they feel when you're walking around. What I mean by this is, do they feel cramped? Do they feel too open? How do these walls fit with the scale of the level? These are very important questions to ask yourself, as a big problem most first-time level designers have with building their level is making the level feel like it's all the same size. When something feels like it's not supposed to be this big or that small, it can easily throw off the player and kill immersion. Don't put too much thought into this right now though, as a lot of the level will feel like it's not to scale before you start putting other assets in. If you make something too small, and then start adding other assets into it, your space is going to feel incredibly cramped. The next thing you're going to want to do is start adding more defining details to your level. I'm talking about adding textures to your walls, adding more static meshes to your level, and adding some lighting. The first thing I'm going to talk about is adding textures to your level. When using BSPs, which we are going to be using for walls and floors, you have many different options for textures. You can change the scale of your texture, move it around on the BSP, and even rotate it. This is done by dragging and dropping a texture from your content browser onto the BSP, and then selecting that BSP. You can then go into the Details panel and mess around with the texture options. Next we have static meshes. I like to focus on my main scene first, but this is just a preference. I add the bigger details of this level to give it a bit more scenery. I'm also adding objects that affect the way a player moves around in the level. This is to give a better feel of how the level will play out. Use your imagination. Think of some cool vantage points you could have as a player, and add them into the level. Things like cover for reloading and places to hide. You can also add some features in the background to make it feel like you're actually somewhere in the world. I add a giant castle wall to give the player a feel as if they are inside one part of a giant castle. This increases immersion and just adds that extra touch that gives the player more realism. Finally, we have lighting. Lighting is a big part of the level design process. It takes up a huge part of processing power as well. Right now, I'm just going to stick to the basics. We'll go over this in much more detail once we get to the advanced portion of the level design. First, we have directional lights. Directional lights are used with the skybox to create the feeling of a sun or a moon. They affect the entire world and don't have a specific radius. Point lights are a circular light that affect an area based on radius and intensity. I mostly use them for light bulbs, torches, and other light sources that affect the surrounding area in a circular fashion. Spotlights are almost self-explanatory. They affect the world in a way a spotlight would. They also use radius, however it is pointed in a certain direction. They also use intensity for brightness. Finally, we have the skylight. This light is the entire environment lighting. It doesn't have a direction, only intensity. This can be used to give your level a certain mood lighting. Once you've finished adding the bigger details to your level, you want to focus on adding smaller details. Up until now, your level has probably felt extremely empty. The way you combat this is by adding smaller static meshes into the world to make it feel more real. I'm going to add some grass to show that the castle has been abandoned. I'm also going to get some pieces of falling rocks, vines, barrels, statues, and some other things that would be in a courtyard. Now, if you're building a level that's abandoned, a technique that I use to make it feel more real is to visualize what it would have looked like beforehand. Then, you want to take some pieces of broken structure and place them where the new structures would have been. In this courtyard, there would have been pathways around the area, some nice foliage, and probably some grain barrels for feeding birds and other animals kept in this space. I'm also going to add a terrain with some grass on it to show that at one point there was a place for these plants to grow. Over time, they would have been spread out by wind or people walking on them. After being abandoned for so long, it would have become much less organized. I'm also placing broken walls, along with the full walls, to show where things could have been. Not all of the structures would have been broken down just yet, as the castle itself still seems to be in good shape. After I finish placing some more detailed objects in my courtyard, I'm going to start placing textures on the walls of the inner corridors. You can easily select multiple BSPs and texture them by control-clicking all of the walls, then dragging and dropping a texture on any of the selected BSPs. You can also edit all of the selected walls and floors in the same Details panel. Now that I've shown you a speed build of my level to the playable point, I'm going to give you a few tips that save me a lot of time. Pressing the Alt key and then clicking and dragging to quickly copy and paste an object in your level is one of the most useful things you'll come to use in level design. This is something I use almost constantly when building a new level. You can do this while using the translation, rotation, and scale tool. Another helpful hint is using folders for organization. I would suggest using this, especially for blocking volumes and lights. You can create and manage your folders inside of the World Outliner. To create a terrain material, you're going to want to get a texture from your content browser ready. Once you have that ready, create a new material. Drag and drop the selected textures into your new material. I'm using a base texture, a normal map, and a roughness texture. You'll then want to right-click and type in Landscape Layer Blend. This will give you a layer blend to give layers for your landscape. This is used when painting on a texture to your landscape. To easily copy and paste the node in UE4, you can use Ctrl+W. Then you'll need to hook up each of them to the separate layer node blends and plug them into a landscape coordinates node at the end of each. This doesn't require separate nodes. I now have a decent, playable level that we can start using to test in. All that's left for us to do is to build the lighting. To do this, go to the menu above the viewport and then select Build. Now, this may take quite a long time depending on how big your level is and how powerful your computer is. It uses a lot of RAM and processing power to complete the lighting build. Some of the levels I've personally built have taken over 3 hours to build lighting. This is usually where I go and take a break. Another thing that makes your lighting build time vary is the light build quality. By default, it should be at Preview. This is what you should use for all builds before you start actually detailing your lighting. Once you're at the lighting detail stage, you'll want to use Production, as a lot more lighting problems come out when you set it at that high of a quality. I now have a playable level with some terrain, built lighting, and a few details in the main courtyard that give my level a bit of definition. Now, it's your turn. Go out and build a level that you can enjoy. Take some time thinking of a few different ideas, and then narrow down that list to your favorite. I suggest taking another look at the Infinity Blade assets inside of the Unreal Marketplace. They are all free and have a great look to them. Good luck! I'll see you in the next section. Let's get started on making our first HUD widget. So, to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to right-click inside of our Blueprints folder. We're going to go under User Interface, and then we're going to go to Widget Blueprint. Now, I'm just going to name this Widget Blueprint FPC_HUD. When we open that up, what we're going to get is this blank canvas. Now, this canvas allows us to put any amount of these boxes over here onto it. What we're going to do first is we're going to grab a vertical box and attach it to the canvas panel. Now the reason that we're grabbing a vertical box is because we want our health and stamina bars to be centered in the middle of our screen. And to do that, we need to anchor it. We can easily anchor both of our health and stamina bars to the same place by using a vertical box. Now, we're going to drag this somewhere in the middle, and line it up, and we're just going to drag out. Let's say to this one, that gives us, here, let's do this. And drag it out to here, then we're going to drag it out to here. Okay. The next thing that we're going to want to do is we're going to drag this bit down and center it right there. Okay. After that, we're going to grab our progress bars for our health and stamina. So you can just search progress bar in here, drag and drop into the vertical box, and then drag and drop into the vertical box. After we've gotten this done, we need to click on the progress bars, we need to select fill and fill. And what this is going to do is align it inside of this vertical box. Each takes up the same amount of space. I'm going to go ahead and set my top bar to our health. So for health, I'm going to want it to be green. Now right now you can't see anything because we haven't bound our percent to our health yet. But if you want to see what the color looks like, you can go over here to percent and change it upwards, and then you can easily see what color it is. Also the same thing with stamina. I'm just going to keep that blue. To make these show the percentage of our health and stamina bars, what we're going to want to do is first, I'm going to actually just rename this one to stamina, and then rename this one to health. There we go, health. And then make sure that this is selected. We're going to go over here to percent. We're going to click this bind, select create binding. Now to bind this to the health, the first thing that we're going to want to do is we're going to right click here and get player character. We're going to drag off of this, we're going to cast to FPC. Just going to hook this up to here. Now what this is doing is it's getting the type of blueprint class that you want and then returning a value of the FPC as an object to the cast. This just allows us to access any variables or functions on this blueprint and manipulate it from the UMG. After that, what we're going to want to do is we're going to drag off this and get our health from FPC. And from there, we're going to drag off of here, and we're actually going to divide it by 100. The reason that we're doing this is because progress bars in the UMG work off of a percentage of 0 to 1, and currently our health is working off of 0 to 100. So, after that, I'm just going to drag off of this one, give the return value, and there we go. We're done. We can compile, save. But one more thing you want to do, because errors will happen pretty often, and you want to be able to find out where they are. So on this cast failed, we're going to drag up here. We're actually going to get a branch. I'll explain that in a little bit. Now, after this branch, from the false, going to print string. And what I like to do to be able to easily locate where these errors are is I just like to type out this part up here, where exactly this function is. So we're doing cast failed at FPC underscore HUD dash get health percent underscore 0. There we go. Now, the reason that I put this branch here is because when your character is destroyed, it's going to start sending out a bunch of these cast failed. So what we need to do is we need to get health, and we need to check and see if it's less than or equal to 0. I'm actually just going to use a reroute node so we can make this look a little bit cleaner. Move this over. We're just going to make sure that this is less than equal to 0. Yes. So again, what this branch is doing is it's checking to see that your health is below 0 before it prints this string. So if your character is at 0 health, it will not start printing out all of these strings, because it will immediately start cast failing if your character is dead and destroyed like we did in our player character. So we can go ahead and save that. The next thing that we're going to want to do is we're going to go back to our designer. We're going to do our stamina bar. Now, on percent, we're going to do again a binding. Drag this out, and we're basically going to do the same thing. So I'm just going to copy and paste all of this, and then we'll just change out the bits that we need to. So from here, just going to get that. Cast to FPC should be the same. Return node should be the same. I believe the only thing that we need to change is this right here. So we're just going to instead get stamina, and we're going to hook it up to the same places. So here and here. Just make this a little bit organized again. And there we go. So we should be able to compile, save, and yep, we are good. The only thing that we need to change now is instead of get health percent, we're going to want to get stamina percent. Compile and save. Now what we can do is we can go ahead and assign this to our FPC. Because before you actually can use a UI, what you need to do is you need to draw it on the player's screen through the character blueprint. Now, this is actually a pretty easy thing to do. all we need to do is we need to create a new variable. We're just going to name this UMG. Now in the variable type over here, we're going to type in FPC underscore HUD, and we're going to want to get a reference to that. So after that, what we can do is we can just select a new space over here. We'll go ahead and use event begin play. And actually, I like to use event begin play over here. So event begin play. And on begin play, what we're going to do is we're going to create widget, I believe. Create widget. Okay. So going to connect these two, select the class, which is FPC underscore HUD. And on this return value, what we're going to do is we're going to set UMG to this return value. There we go. And after that, all we have to do is drag off here, add to viewport. And that's it. We can just compile and save this. And then we can just come back, play, and our stamina is not working. You know what? I actually think I remember why. Let's see. And there it is. All right, so we need to hook this up to the return node, compile, save, play, and there we go. Now, as you can see, our bar is quite a bit off. The reason for this is that we haven't anchored the vertical box yet. But as you can see, it's still working, still there, and it's tracking our stamina quite well. And then it'll go back up. And if we go and press K, 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 there's our health going down, and you are dead. And as you can see, since we put that branch before the print string in the cast to FPC, it's not showing a bunch of print strings to us right now. But if we didn't, like this, and we just put it on, actually let's just completely skip over this branch, compile, save, what you're going to see is that every single time. And it's going to print every frame because the UMG is still an object. So go ahead and hook this back up. And there we go. Compile and save. Now, let's go back to our designer. We're going to go ahead and anchor this vertical box. All you have to do is go up here to anchors, select the middle, compile, save, play, and now it's in the middle. However, as you can see, the box takes up the complete screen. So let's go ahead and change that. It's going to move this down a little bit. Compile and save that. And that's a little bit better. Now you can mess around with this. I believe it should see. It scales with the screen. So depending on how big your screen is, it will stay the same size. Now, if you're planning on running your game on both mobile and desktop, what you'll want to do is you'll want to create two separate HUDs for the mobile version and another HUD for the desktop version, because while it scales quite well, it doesn't work completely if your screen size is something like this, as you can see. But if your screen size is something like this, it works fine. And desktop PCs generally don't have a wide variety of resolution range, so it will work out fine. I'm just going to go ahead and stop. Then we're just going to make this a little bit bigger, place it about halfway. There we go. Compile, save. Yeah, I like that a bit better. And actually, while we're at it, we're going to go in and go to our FPC. We're going to take off the print strings now. So let's just go to our apply damage function. Let's delete this string. Let's delete, actually, I'm sorry. Let's not, well, yeah, let's delete both of these strings. And then we can just go ahead and go to the event graph, find our stamina, and we're just going to delete this one altogether. compile, save, play. Now we don't have that annoying print string showing up, and we can still see how much stamina and health that we have. Now, another cool thing that we can do with this UMG widget is we're going to go ahead and add colors to our health bar to let us know when we're getting low on health and we're getting really low on health. So, to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to open up our FPC HUD, and we're going to select health and go over here to appearance, and on fill color and opacity, just go ahead and click this bind and create binding. Okay, so again, what we need to start with is we need to start with get player character, drag off of that, cast to FPC. Once we've done that, we need to hook up our node right here. Set that right there, this right there. And off of this cast failed, we're just going to do another branch and print string. So let's just get that out of the way really quick. Branch, false, print string, cast failed at FPC HUD dash get health fill color and opacity. Now, this may seem tedious, but trust me when I say this, it will be a very big problem if you don't know how to track down where these are, because it throws a lot of errors, but if you don't know where it's at, once your game starts expanding, there's going to be a lot more blueprints than just the 3 that we've created so far. Yes, the 3 that we've created so far. So you want to make sure that you heavily document these casts because they will fail, and quite often. So make sure that you know where the error is at by using these print strings. Again, it may seem tedious, but trust me, it is worth it. Okay, we're just going to drag that off there. We're getting compile errors because we haven't hooked up anything to this return value. The next thing that we're going to want to do to get our health color is I'm going to put 3 different colors in here. I'm going to put green, orange, and red. So we're just going to need 3 different branches. And all we're going to do is we're going to get health. Let's actually move these out a bit. After we've gotten our health, we're going to, again, let's just get this branch out of the way. Less than or equal to condition. Just move this over here. Throw another reroute node out. These are mainly for organization. Again, it's really helpful if you organize this stuff while you're doing it because it will get very big and it's very hard to read after your blueprints start to expand. So then we're just going to cast to this branch. I'm sorry, we're going to hook this up to this branch. And then we're going to get a greater than or equal to. So if it's greater than or equal to 70, yeah, 70 sounds good. If health is greater than or equal to 70, then we're going to set the color. And actually what we need to add a variable. We're just going to add health color. And what you want to make this is a linear color. There we go. Linear color. Just going to set this to here. If that's true, we're going to set the health color to that. And then we're going to return the node and hook up this to the return value. Okay. Actually, I think we can reroute node. And we can do this instead. Let me see if this should work. No, it doesn't. Okay. Never mind. We're just going to hook this up to that then. So if it's not above 70, we're going to check to see if it is above, let's say we do 50. So we're going to drag off of here. We're going to reroute node. And then we're going to greater than or equal to 50. Okay, so after that, we're going to believe we can actually just do this. Yeah, okay. So going to greater than or equal to, I'm sorry, let's do less than. Less than or equal to, let's say 15? Yeah, let's do 15. And let's do a condition. Set this to false. Drag this health color up there. This one right here, true. True. And then again, what we need to do is we just need to hook these all up to the same spot. Okay, so we can't do that. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to drag off of here, get a get health color. We're just going to put this right there. So just set this up here. Bring this one up this way. And then we're just going to drag this down like that. That should work. Okay, so let's move these around a bit. Get these out of the way. There we go. Okay. These nodes are a bit finicky sometimes, so there we go. All right. Okay. That's about as organized as it's going to get. Okay, so if it's above 70, what we're going to do is we're going to set this health color to green. We need to turn the brightness up, maybe a little bit down. Let's do that color green. Then we're going to go orange on this one, so let's go here, orange. Let's get a little bit more red orange. There we go. Closer to yellow. And then on this one, what we're going to want to do is we're going to set it to a pretty light red. Now obviously you can change this to whatever you want. This is just my personal preference. So actually what we're going to do is we're going to go here and we're going to just remove this and we're going to set this down to 35. So basically what's happening, if it's above 70, then it's going to be green. If it's below 70 but above 35, then it's going to be orange. And otherwise else it's going to be just red. So we're just going to set that to red, compile, save, play. And there we go. We have a fully working health bar. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a message that plays upon death. So to do that, we're going to open up our fpc_HUD. And the next thing that we're going to do is we're just going to grab another vertical box here. Vertical box. Just going to drag this into the canvas panel. And we're just going to create a simple text update. Now, to put text on the screen, what we're going to do is we're going to type in text. I'm going to grab text, put that in the vertical box, and then what we're going to want to do is we're just going to drag this out into the middle. Just going to make it about this big. Doesn't have to look great. And then what we're going to do is we're going to type fill right there. I'm just going to put you have died. That's it. And we'll go ahead and make the color red. Click OK. And then let's go down here to font and we'll make this a little bit bigger. And then we will select center right here. There we go. Okay. After that, we're just going to go ahead and anchor our vertical box again. So let's just anchor it to the middle. Now, if we start the game right now, we compile and save this and start the game. What's going to happen is you're just going to have this giant you have died right here. So what we need to do is we need to enable it when health is less than 0. So to do that, we need to go down here to visibility, select this binding right here, create binding. Now we can easily set this up to show up only when you are dead. by just getting player character again, drag off of this, cast to our FPC. There we go. And then again, we're just going to get health. And then we just want to see if it's less than or equal to 0. There we go. So we need to put a branch after this as well. There we go. Go over here. And then we're actually going to drag off of this. And then we're going to go here to a local variable. Now, the reason that it's a local variable is because we don't want it to be used outside of this specific function. It will never be used outside of this specific function. Local variables are different in the way that regular variables are used in the entire blueprint. So you can call like health, stamina, or health color from any of these, but this variable right here will only be available in this function. We're just going to name this death text visibility. There we go. Now we're going to want to drag off of this, set it 2 times, true and false. Move this over a little bit. There we go. Drag it off here and there. Now, if health is less than or equal to 0, then we want it to be visible. That's good. Now, if it's not, we want it to be hidden. So then we just compile, save. Then we're just going to minimize this, play. And as you can see, there's no death screen just yet. Press K, 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 and then it says you have died. If you want to remove the HUD bars at the bottom after you've died, I'm going to teach you how. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to open up our FPC HUD again. We're going to go to the event graph. So if you're into your designer where a default opens up to, you're going to go to your graph, and then you're going to click event graph. This is just like every other blueprint, and it has event graphs, functions, and variables. So you're going to want to drag out your event tick, and we're going to create a custom event. I'm just going to name this clear HUD. The reason I like to use custom events is that they allow you to space out your blueprints for organization. You could also use a function for what I'm going to do, but for good practice, you shouldn't use functions for any things that don't actually serve a purpose for more than one situation. What we're doing here is clearing the HUD, which is only used one time in this specific blueprint. If you needed to clear the entire HUD from a different blueprint, I would recommend setting up a function on the player character, as what we're doing here doesn't actually remove it from the viewport, it's only hiding certain aspects of it. Also, the reason that we're not clearing the HUD from the player character right now is because we still want to use the HUD for things like a death screen, amount of kills, amount of deaths, things like that. So, now that we've got our custom event, what we're going to want to do is going to drag off here, type clear HUD. I'm sorry, actually I think that's a different thing. Nope, it's the same thing. Okay, so that's there. We're actually just going to drag this down a bit so we can get some more organization. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get player character. And we're going to try to cast to our FPC. Now, if you think back to our cast failed debug messages, you'll remember that the cast failed after the player had been destroyed. We're going to use that to our advantage here. So, after we've connected this, go here. We're going to actually drag off of cast failed. I'm sorry, I'm not going to do that yet. We're going to grab our health and stamina bars from over here. And then you can drag off of either one of these. And we're going to set visibility. I'm going to connect these two on cast failed. Just move this down a little bit. You can attach both of these to the target. And we're going to set these to collapsed. Now the reason that we're using collapsed is because collapsed is not visible and it takes no space in the layout. So these are completely gone. Compile, save. The next thing I'm going to do is completely optional, but I will note that it is very important to document your blueprints. To create a comment, I'm just going to highlight everything and then press C. I'm just going to put this as clear HUD. And then I'm actually going to go here and I'm going to comment these out. Now, something like this is very important to document because when you start adding more and more detail to your HUD, the amount of objects in this comment section you have will increase. The better you organize your blueprints, the more you'll thank yourself when you're going back to change them. I'm going to change this to HUD objects. Move this down a little bit. There you go. And now when we start getting more bars, what we can do is we can just drag them in here and we can set the visibility automatically. And that's all you have to do. Just makes it easier when you start adding things. So we're going to go ahead and compile and save. And after we've done that, just minimize. Let's go test it. And there we go. Now both of our HUD bars are gone and we still have our "you have died" message. Let's get started on building our health system for our character. So the first thing that we're going to want to do is we're going to create a new folder here. I'm just going to name this first person shooter. Now, once you have that, we're going to go on here and create another folder called blueprints. This is just for organization purposes. After we've done that, let's drop this down, go into first person BP, blueprints. We're going to make a duplicate of this. Let's just call it FPC. Move that into our blueprints folder. The reason that we're doing this is so we can go back and restore defaults if we make any changes that completely break this FPC character. The next thing that we're going to want to do, right-click, create a blueprint class. We're going to go in here and create a new game mode. We're going to do FPC_GM. Now open this up, and now we're going to go over here to default pawn class, select here, we're going to select our FPC. Compile and save. Now, what that's doing is it's selecting our first person character that we just created to be the default playable character. The next thing we have to do to make sure that we're running that game mode is come up here to Edit, Project Settings, go to Maps and Modes. We're just going to go down to Default Game Mode and change it to our FPC_GM. Just close out of that. Now, after you've done that, we're going to open this FPC. And you should have this here. Now, this is all the default for movement right here. And these down here are defaults for the gun. This is just spawning projectile. So, what we're going to want to do is we're going to create a health system. We're also going to create a stamina system, but we're going to start with a health system. So, we need a few different variables. Let's go over here, click Add Variable, and type in health. I'm going to change this to a float. The reason that we're using float is because float gives a bit more precision than integer does, as floats have decimal places. You're also going to want to change this to public. Now the reason I'm changing this to public is because when you change a variable to public, it allows you to edit it and view it from every other blueprint in your project. It's extremely helpful, especially when we're going to be using UMG for our HUD. After that, we're going to want to create another variable. We're going to name this stamina. We're also going to make this public. I'm going to create its own category as well. Put it under health and stamina. Now, once you've done that, we're just going to compile and save really quick. We're going to change health to 100 and also stamina to 100. You can change this to whatever you want, but I like to keep it at 100 as 100 equals 100%, and you can make changes based on a percentage rather than just a number. Next thing we're going to want to do is we're going to create a function. We're going to call this function apply damage. Now the cool part about UE4 is you don't have to space it out over here, but it will space it out over here. In this apply damage function, we're going to want to see if the health is still above 0. If it's not, we destroy the actor. If it is, we're going to want to subtract the damage taken from health, and then check again to see if it's still above 0. So, to do that, what we need to do is drag off of here, create a branch. We're going to want a less than or equal to float. And we're actually going to control, click, and drag off there and hook that up to this. Now what that's doing when I control, click, and drag is it's getting a get version of this. If you just regularly drag, it's going to ask you if you want to get or set. What you can do to make this a bit quicker process is you can control, click, and drag to get a get, and alt, click, and drag to get a set. Another quick thing we're going to want to do to apply damage is we're going to add an input. We're going to name this input damage taken. And we're also going to change this to a float. Now what this does is it allows you to input damage taken to this function when you're running it. So we're going to take this, I'm going to go to reroute node. This is simply for organization purposes. We're going to get another get. No, actually we don't need another get. We're going to drag off of this, do a subtract, and then connect these. We're also going to need a set from here. Connect this to false. After that, we're going to want to check and see if this is still true. So we're just going to use a reroute node. We're going to get another branch. We're going to check this condition right here. Now, a quick way to get a branch, you can just hold B and click. After that, we're just going to move this up here. I'm going to put another reroute node. After this, we're going to check and see if it's false again. Get a print string. And then if it is false, going to show the new health. If it's not false, going to go up here and destroy actor. We're also going to connect this to this true. I'm going to put another print string up here. Name it you are dead. Just for dramatic flair, we're going to make this red. Awesome. Okay, so what this is doing is it's checking to see if you're still above 0 health. If you are still above 0 health, it's going to set your health to health minus damage taken. After that, it's going to check again to see if you are still above 0 health. If you are, it's going to print your new health to the log. Now, eventually this will just be run in our HUD, but we don't have that just yet. So, for debugging purposes, we're just going to make it this way. Now, if your health is below 0, it's going to destroy your actor and print you are dead. We're just going to compile, save. We're going to go back to our event graph. After that, we're going to put event any damage. All we have to do is hook up this to here and our damage to damage taken. We're going to compile, save, and then what we're going to want to do is we're going to open up the level blueprint. And we're going to want to build this right here. So, what this is doing is when K is pressed, it's going to get all actors of this class, which we need to set to FPC. And then it's going to grab the first actor by using this get and getting the index 0. and then applying 15 damage to that. So what you can do is you can choose any key, you can drag off of that, get all actors of class, out actor to get, and from here apply damage. Damage actor is this one, base damage, whatever you want it to be, actor class, FPC, or whatever you named your character. After that, you can compile. It's because of this. Okay. So you can compile, you can go to that, and actually you need one more thing. Now, in your FPC, what you're going to want to do to enable input is go up to this, in your top left corner, scroll down to input, get auto receive input, and put it on player 0. Compile, save. Now, we can go in here now, we can go and press K, 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 and you are dead. That means that our health system is successful, and we can now start working on our stamina system. Let's get started. The first thing that we need to do is we need to go up here to Edit, Project Settings, and Input. Now under Input, you're going to go to Bindings and then Action Mappings. You're going to want to create a new action mapping by clicking this button here, and then name it Run. And then you're going to want to assign a key value to it. I set mine to left shift. And then after that, we can just go ahead and close this. We can open up our first person character. And then we can go ahead and start our stamina system. I'm going to start it up here. So first thing we need to do, we need to get our new run event. And then we need to create two variables. The first variable is can run. And the second one is run active. Now, run active is going to be set on pressed and released of this key. So we're just going to go ahead and put that there, and on pressed it's going to be active, and when it's released it's going to be inactive. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to create a custom event up here. Okay, custom event. I'm just going to name this stamina tick. Done. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do on stamina tick is we're going to get a branch. We're going to check and see if stamina is less than or equal to 0. Now, if our stamina is less than or equal to 0, what we're going to do is we're going to set the max walk speed of our character back down to the walking speed. So to do this, what we do is we're going to drag off of character movement. We're going to get here. We're going to select set max walk speed. There it is. We're going to set this max walk speed to 600, which is the default in the first person character blueprint. Compile. Now, after we've set the max walk speed to 600, we're going to check again to see if run is active. We're going to just do run active, and run a branch, check and see. If run is not active, then we're going to start recharging stamina. But first we need to check and see if stamina is equal to or less than 100, because we don't want it charging over 100. Let's drag these out of here. And then if this is false, I'm going to go ahead and set stamina to stamina plus 0.25. Now the reason I'm doing 0.25 is because this is called every frame, so it starts to add up very quickly. Let me just go over here, set that to that, and then we are good for this branch. We're going to come back down to this part, and we're going to check again to see if stamina is less than or equal to 0. If it's not, we're going to run another branch. We're going to check to see if run is active. That is false. And we're going to set the max walk speed 2 times over here on false and true. And this bottom one, we're going to keep at 600. The top one, we're going to keep at 1000, which is my sprint speed. You can set this to whatever you want it to be. However, 1000 seems to be a good amount. Also, you're going to want to hook up these targets to this character movement. And if run is active, you set the max walk speed to 1000, and we're also going to start depleting the stamina. So, got to set stamina to stamina minus 0.25. There we go. Just going to set that right there. Then in this last one, we're going to do another branch. Hook this up. Get stamina again. Check and see if it's less than or equal to 100. And then, off this true, we're going to set stamina to stamina plus 0.25 again. I'm done. Okay. So, now that we've got all that set up, what we've got to do is we've got to get our event tick. There it is. We're going to go ahead and call our custom event, which should be under here, and then stamina tick. Now if it's not there, you can also right click, type in stamina tick, and it's there as well. Now, just for debugging purposes, what we're going to do is at the end of all of these, we're going to hook this up to a print string, and we're going to print the value of stamina. Compile and save. Now, when we go ahead and click play, you should see this very first print string, which was 100.025. I'm sorry, 100.25. And then when we press shift, it's going to go down. And then when we let go of shift, it'll go right back up. And there it goes. So we've successfully set up our stamina system. Just to go back over what I had before, let's start at the beginning. So if stamina is less than or equal to 0, what we're going to do is set the walk speed back to 600 because at that point the stamina is depleted. Afterwards, we're going to check to see if run is still active. The reason that run active is here is because run active is going to check and see if they are still trying to run. If they are still trying to run, we don't want them to get more stamina just yet. The reason this next branch is here is because we don't want stamina to be over 100. And afterwards, obviously this is just recharging the stamina. So, if stamina is above 0, it's going to check to see if run is active. If run is not active, basically all of this is doing is just recharging the stamina. If it is active, what this is doing is it's depleting your stamina. The last thing that we want to do and this is completely optional, is I'm going to put a system in here that doesn't allow you to start running again until your stamina is at least 30% of full. So to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to take this over here. We're going to put a branch in between these. Just going to put it on true. And actually, we don't need a branch down here. We're going to hook this branch up to a condition. We're going to check and see if stamina is greater than or equal to 30. Connect that up to this branch, and there we go. Compile and save. Also, one last thing, we made a mistake up here. So instead of having this false, we need to connect it to true. Otherwise, our stamina will not recharge once it hits 0. Started with our weapon system, the first thing that you'll need to do is get some new weapon meshes. Now, if you don't have any weapons, you can just use the default mesh until you get new meshes. I'm going to be using the Military Weapons Silver Pack from the Unreal Marketplace. You can use any weapons you want with this. We're going to build 4 different weapons, add custom weapon holding for each. We're going to do firing, reloading, pickups, and accurate dropping of the weapons as well. The first thing we're going to do in here is we're going to right click, we're going to create a new folder. I'm just going to go ahead and name this weapon system. Now, inside our weapon system folder, what we're going to do is we're going to actually create a new blueprint class, and we're just going to select actor. Just going to name this auto rifle underscore projectile BP. Now, let's open this up. We're going to add a few things to it. The first thing that we're going to add is we're going to add projectile movement. After that, we're going to add a collision sphere. Then we're going to add a particle system. We're going to name this tracer. Now, for our tracer, what we're going to want to do is we're going to leave this blank for now. We're going to create duplicates of this auto rifle for the pistol, shotgun, and semi-auto rifle, so we don't want to set this to anything just yet. We're going to go to our collision sphere over here. We're going to set the sphere radius to 5. And once you've done that, we're actually going to delete the scene root. Sorry, we're actually going to make this the new root. We're going to drag projectile movement down. Like I said, this doesn't need to be anywhere. So we can just go to projectile movement, and we're going to set the initial speed to 10,000. We're going to set the max speed to 10,000. We're also going to change the velocity x to 10,000. After that, I'm going to compile, save, and we are done for just now. So we're going to actually duplicate this. We're going to make semi-auto rifle underscore projectile BP. Just going to copy this so it's quicker. We're going to make another one. Name this shotgun projectile BP. And then one more for the pistol. I'm going to go ahead and go up here to save all. So you can save those assets. There we go. After that, we're going to create another blueprint. So go to blueprint class, actor, and we're going to name this weapon pickup underscore BP. This will be the base pickup class for all of our weapons. We're going to go ahead and add one more thing in here, and then we can get started. So let's add a miscellaneous, I believe. No, it's under blueprints. So we're going to add blueprints and then enumeration. We're going to name this enumeration weapon underscore type underscore enum. Now let's go ahead and go into this enum. And we're going to add, let's see, 5 different types. First one is going to be auto rifle. Next one we're going to add is semi-auto rifle. Then shotgun, pistol, and finally hands, which is the default if you don't have any weapons with you. So after that we can click save and we can actually exit out of this. Now that we've created all the blueprints that we need for our weapon system, what we're going to want to do is we're going to go back to our blueprints folder. We're going to open up our FPC character. And we're actually going to add all of the variables for our weapon system now. So for our weapon system, we need a lot of different variables. I'm going to go ahead and create one called primary weapon underscore fire rate. We're going to change this to a float. Add a new variable, primary weapon underscore damage. It's also a float. Then we're going to do primary weapon underscore total ammo. Now we need to set this to public, and this is going to be an integer. Let's do another one. Primary weapon underscore clip ammo. This also needs to be public and also needs to be an integer. And we need to do primary weapon underscore attached. This needs to be a boolean. Then we have primary weapon underscore type. And what we need to do from here is we need to go to variable type, and we're actually going to type in our weapon type pickup enum. There we go. So weapon type enum. Compile. Now we have all the ones for our primary weapon. Now we need to start adding the ones for our secondary weapon. So we're just going to go to variable again. We're going to do secondary weapon underscore, let's see, fire rate. Let's go ahead and copy this part. This fire rate needs to be a float again. And then we need to do damage. And then total ammo, public, integer, clip ammo, attached, and finally type. Compile and save again. We now have all the variables for our primary and secondary weapon, so I'm just going to go ahead and add all of these to a category called weapon system. And we'll just go ahead and do that for all of them. Actually, we need to move these into health and stamina because they should not be here. Okay, now we actually need to add a few more variables. So we're going to add one called equipped weapon. This needs to be weapon type enum. Let's go ahead and move that. Actually, weapon system. And this needs to be public as well. Add another variable called is reloading. This needs to be a boolean. Another variable is changing weapon. And add this to the weapon system and weapon system. And we've got 2 more here. And these next 2 are types that we haven't used yet. They're actually called timer handles. First one we're going to use is called reload shotgun timer handle. Copy this timer handle part. So just go up here, type in timer handle. There you go. Add this to the weapon system. And final variable is fire auto rifle timer handle. Let's go ahead and add that to weapon system again. Awesome. And we've got our variables. That's all we need. So we can go ahead and compile and save. We're actually going to add 2 functions as well. So let's go to add function, type in pickup weapon, and then another one called switch weapon. Now we can compile, save, and we're actually going to minimize this. We're going to go back into our weapon system folder and open up our weapon pickup BP. Now, we need to add a few variables in here as well. We're just going to go to variable and do pickup range, change this to a float. Then we'll go ahead and add this to a weapon system. Pickup range needs to be public. Then we need to add type, which is going to be our weapon type enum. Go ahead and put that in the weapon system again. This needs to be public as well. Next variable is random type. Go ahead and do boolean. Add that to the weapon system. This needs to be public as well. And then we need to do is dropped weapon can pick up clip ammo and total ammo. Now these last 2, clip ammo, total ammo, both need to be integers. And can pick up needs to be public. I'm going to go ahead and add these to the weapon system. Compile, save. We're going to add a new function called generate weapon. And we need to go back to the event graph. Now, in the event graph, what we needed to do is we need to get pickup range, set that there. We're going to drag out generate weapon. We're going to set the delay. If you want to do a quick select on a delay like that, what you can do is you can hold D and click. Easily makes a delay node. And then we need to set can pick up to true. I'm setting this here because this allows us to not be able to pick up the weapon immediately after we drop it. So we'll just set this to 1 second. Compile. Now what we need to do is we need to add a component. It's another sphere collision. Name this pickup trigger. We're actually going to get a reference to that. Well, right down under here, we're going to set sphere radius on begin play. And then we're going to hook this up here in sphere radius. Then in pickup range, just going to set this to 15. Actually, let's set this to 150. Just move this around a little bit. Get out of the way. Now, over in the right corner over here, we're going to get on component overlap pickup trigger. I'm sorry, let's do, I think we need to go here actually. So click on this. There it is, on component begin overlap. And drag this over this way. And then below here, we're going to create a custom event. We're going to call this on pickup. And over here, we're going to call that on pickup. I misspelled it. That is why. Let's go back down here. Spell this again. There we go. We're actually going to need to add an input to this. So let's compile it. Let's go over here and add an input. Let's do overlapping actor. We just need to get an actor reference. Plug this in from over there. There we go. Let's go ahead and comment this out really quick. There we go. Now, one more thing we're going to do before we start working on the logic is we're going to go ahead and add skeletal meshes to this default scene root so we can unhide them when the weapon is selected. So just search skeletal mesh, weapon underscore, we'll do auto rifle, go ahead and duplicate that, and we'll do semi-auto rifle, duplicate, shotgun, and pistol. Now, where you set your mesh is right under here. You just want to click on it, go here. I'm just going to search assault rifle. For this one, we're going to use the default, which is this FP gun. Then we're going to search shotgun. And pistol. Now, you can plug in each of your own weapons to this as long as they are a skeletal mesh. So, after that, we can just compile, save. Now let's get working on the logic for the pickup system. Let's get started on the logic for our weapon pickup. So, first thing we're going to do is we're going to drag out can pickup over here. Make get. We're going to put a branch right here and connect this to this branch. There we go. Now, from overlapping actor, we're actually going to reroute this 2 times to get around this branch. And then we're going to cast to our FPC character. Let's hook that up. Now, let's go ahead and put our print string here for our cast failed. So print string, we're going to type in cast failed at weapon pickup underscore BP. And then we're just going to put on pickup. There we go. Okay. So from FPC, what we're going to do is we're going to, actually I'm sorry, we don't need to use this just yet. What we need is to get type, and then we're going to use a new node that we haven't used yet. It's called switch on. Now, this node right here is what makes enums so useful. Basically, depending on what type of weapon is selected from here, we can go ahead and do different things. Now, the different things that we're going to be doing over here is we're going to be setting the sound for the pickup system, and then we're going to cast it to the character. So let's go ahead and hook this up. Just bring this over a little bit. Then we're going to use a reroute node. We're going to use one more. Go ahead and do that. And then we need to cast to the FPC and get primary weapon attached for the auto rifle. And then we also need to get primary weapon type. Okay. So once we've got those, we need to grab another reroute node. Give us a little space here. Then we're going to use a branch. And we need to check to see if primary weapon is attached. Let's go ahead and do that. And then off of this type, we need to get equal and equal enum. So after that, we need to do another branch. And then hook this up right here. We're just going to plug true into this one. And then what we're going to do is we're going to spawn sound at location. And then we're going to hook up this true here and the false to here. There we go. Now, the reason that we're doing this is because we're checking to see if first if the primary weapon is attached, and if it isn't, what we're going to do is we're just going to play this sound. But if there is a primary weapon attached, we're checking to see if the type is the same, and then playing a sound. The reason for this is because we want to be able to pick up ammo of the same gun type. So, the next thing we need to do is we need to get a location for this. So what we're going to do is we're just going to get actor, we need to get a reference to self, and then get actor location. There we go. And we're actually going to run another reroute node. And another one right here. Hook this up to location. Hook this up to this. And then let's just organize this a little bit, because we're just going to copy paste for the rest of them, except for pistol. And this one's sound is for the auto rifle. So then you just need to select the sound asset over here for your auto rifle. And mine is rifle ammo pickup Q. Now, once we've got that out of the way, we need to comment this out, auto rifle, and then let's just condense this as much as possible. And there we go. So we're going to go ahead and copy this entire thing 2 more times. I'm sorry, 3 more times. Except for this last one is going to be the pistol, so we need to get the secondary weapon type and secondary weapon attached. We'll do that in a bit. So when you've got that done, we need to hook up the correct nodes. So here, here, and here. We need to hook up the location. There we go. And one more. And then we need to hook up these targets right here. So to make this a bit easier, I'm just going to put this right here, these two, and then there we go. Self, self, and connect. Go, and last one. There we go. Self, self, and connect. Okay, awesome. So what we can do now, so we actually need to remove this part right here. And then, actually let's keep that there for a second just for reference. And then we need to get secondary weapon type. There it is. Hook this up right there. And we can delete that. There we go. Okay. Hook that up, and then we need to get primary weapon attached. Or sorry, secondary weapon attached. Secondary weapon attached. Get secondary weapon attached. There we go. Okay. Hook that up to there. We need to change this to pistol. We'll go ahead and change the comment while we're at it. Need to change this to shotgun. Let's do shotgun. And then this one to semi-auto rifle, and then semi-auto rifle. Compile, save. The last thing we need to do over here is we just need to change the pickup sound. I'm going to keep that one the same. Go shotgun. There we go, ammo pickup. Q. And then we can do the pistol. There we go. Okay, so for now, we just need to get one more reference. We're actually going to pull this over here, drop one there, drop one there. Connect these really quick. Let's delete that. It's going to be grayed out if we do it that way, so let's just do reroute node here. And then reroute. There we go. Okay. So the last thing we're going to do down here is we're going to get pickup weapon. There we go. It's this function. Then we need to connect these guys right here to this function. And then we actually need to open up this function and add some inputs. So the inputs we're going to add are for type, total ammo, and then clip ammo. So type needs to be the enumeration for weapon type. Total ammo needs to be an integer, and then clip ammo also needs to be an integer. Compile, save that. Go back to our weapon pickup. I'm going to close out of these really quick. Okay, so now for type we just need to get a get, and same thing for clip ammo and total ammo. There we go. And just connect these really quick. And there we go. So now we have everything we need here for the pickup, but what we actually still need to do is we need to complete this generate weapon. So the first thing we need to do in generate weapon is we actually need to get a reference to all of these right here, and then need to set them to be invisible. So just going to drag off of this one, set visibility, make sure that's false, and then going to just connect all these. And let's move them down. And you can easily add to this if you have any other weapons. You just set them right there. I'm just going to comment this out really quick and hide weapons. There we go. Let's move this down. Okay, so after that, we're going to need a branch. And we're going to check to see if it is a dropped weapon. Let's drag it here, check to see if it's a dropped weapon. There we go. Now, If it's not a dropped weapon, we need to do another thing. We need to check to see if it's a random weapon type. Now basically what random weapon type does is it allows you to set this actor in a level that you have and then check a boolean to see if it's supposed to be a random weapon or it's supposed to be a specific type that you can select. I can show you that right here. So if you go here, you click on your weapon, and then you can just type here, and then is random type. So that's what that'll do. Let's go ahead and start with if it's not a random weapon. So let's just do a reroute node. Pull that down this way. And then actually, while we're at it, let's drag this true over here, and let's reroute. If it's a dropped weapon, it's basically going to skip all of the generated weapon stuff. So we're just going to move this over here. And then let's get our type again. Let's do another switch on. Connect these really quick. And then we're going to set clip ammo and total ammo here. Now, for both our auto rifle and our semi-auto rifle, I'm just going to go ahead and set these to total ammo 150 and clip ammo is going to be 30. We can go ahead and duplicate this. And we'll duplicate it again. And then total ammo for our shotgun is going to be 40 and then 8. And finally, total ammo for our pistol, going to set it to 36 and 9. So we can actually drag out here. We'll do another reroute. And we will connect the ends to all of this right here. And then that'll get us set up for later use. So then we can just semi-auto, auto, shotgun, and pistol. Now you can just connect this auto rifle and the semi-auto rifle to the same one if you wanted, but I set it up this way just in case you wanted to change the semi-auto clip. So let's go ahead and that's finished. So we can comment this. I'm actually going to bring this out a bit. And this is non-random weapon generation. There we go. So now we need to do everything for if it is a random weapon. So let's go ahead and do another reroute. Let's bring that up this way. And we need to use a new node. And this one's called a multigate. Basically what this does is randomly selects one of these out pins to choose. So we're going to set it up to where each of these is a different weapon. So make sure you have is random and loop is false. Let's go ahead and bring that up a bit. Now here we're going to set type, clip ammo, and total ammo. So let's just go ahead and do that. Drag this up. Then we'll duplicate this 3 more times. There we go. Okay. Let's get these organized a bit. And boom. Okay. So let's go ahead and connect these. And after we've connected these, what we need to do is we need to set the types. So we can just set semi-auto rifle, shotgun, and then pistol. And we need to do the same ammo types for up here. So clip ammo is going to be 30. Total ammo is going to be 150. Actually, let's connect these two. There we go. And done. Okay. Then we just need to do 30 again. 150. Shotgun is 8 and 40. And 9 and 36. Okay. So then we can actually just do another reroute node. And then we'll connect to the end of these. And then we need one final reroute. So let's just connect each of these ends over here. And then let's go back and get our dropped weapon. Okay. Let's go ahead and comment this. Random weapon generation. We can actually move this down. Get this a bit cleaner. We'll go ahead and move this to the middle, right there. There we go. Okay. Actually, let's move this entire thing up. There we go. All right. So, after we've gotten that done, we need to run one more type switch. So let's get type one more time. Let's do switch on, and then we need to set the visibility of these. So grab a reference to each, and then we just need to set visibility to true. So let's go ahead and do this 2 more times, 3 more times. Just paste that, paste that, paste that. Hook it up to this target. And then again for shotgun. And then again for pistol. There we go. Now, hook up these to each of the corresponding nodes, and then we can compile and save. We've now successfully completed our weapon pickup blueprint. So that's all we need to do for this one. So let's go ahead and save and exit out. The next thing we need to do is receive all of this information on the player's side. To do this, we need to finish the pickup weapon function in the FPC character. So let's go ahead and open up our FPC character. Okay, so to start, we need to drag off this type. We need to get a switch on weapon enum. Then we need to reroute our type, our clip ammo, and our total ammo. Let's go ahead and move these around. There we go. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with our auto rifle. Let's reroute this up here. And then we need to go ahead and get primary weapon attached and drag this off into a branch. Let's go ahead and connect this up. And then on false, what we need to do is we need to set the total ammo, clip ammo, fire rate, damage, and weapon type. And actually, we need to set this primary weapon attached as well. Let's go ahead and organize these. There we go. Okay. So, let's go ahead and copy these over here. Let's connect them up. There we go. There we go. And then let's go ahead and attach our total ammo to the primary weapon total ammo and primary weapon clip ammo for the clip. Then let's connect these and connect this to the false. And let's go ahead and connect all these up. There we go. There we go. Set this primary weapon attached to true. And then let's go ahead and reroute this over here. Put it on our primary weapon type. And let's move these down a bit. Okay. And actually, we're going to want to go ahead and reroute this to right here. Drag that up. Let's move it over a bit, actually. And then we're going to reroute this as well. Okay. So what this is doing is it's checking to see if you already have a primary weapon, and if you don't, it's going to go ahead and set all the primary weapon data to this assault rifle's weapon data. So for fire rate, what we're going to do is we're going to start at 0.125. Now what fire rate does for the auto rifle is this is the interval between bullets that it shoots, because the auto rifle is shooting automatically. So let's go ahead and change weapon type, or sorry, weapon damage to about 3, just for now. We'll be messing with this once we actually start to get our AI in, so we can tell how much damage it does within a certain period. And then the last thing we need to put over here is switch weapon. Let's go ahead and connect this up, and then we actually need to add an input to it. We're going to add weapon to equip. And then change it to this weapon type enum. And then go ahead and connect that. And then, just for debugging purposes, until we can actually see that the weapon is equipped, let's go ahead and print a string that says primary attached. There we go. Now, if you don't have a primary, if you do have a primary weapon attached and it's picking this weapon up, we're going to go ahead and add the weapon ammo to your total ammo. So to do that, what we need to do is we need to set total ammo up here. And then we actually need to reroute this. Let's go ahead and connect that up. Move this over a bit. And we need to get an add integer. And then we need to add total ammo plus that plus our primary weapon total ammo. So let's connect those. And actually, just to make this a bit cleaner, let's connect this to the top pin, move that over a bit, and this one could be the total ammo, and this one could be the clip ammo. And then we just need to set the primary total ammo. And there we go. So now that we've got all this connected, we're going to go ahead and comment this. Name this auto rifle. Now, the reason I'm adding all of these reroute nodes is not only for organization, but watch what happens whenever I copy and paste all of this. If you notice, all of these pins are just easy to connect. You don't have to go and connect it to each and every single one of these things. All we have to do is connect this to the event, connect this to the type, this to the total ammo, and then this to the clip ammo. Now if we didn't use reroute nodes, we would have to reroute all of those. Well, actually we wouldn't have to reroute it, but we would have to connect all of these up to the same spots, and we'd have to reference this one to see where they were going. So it's just a lot easier and better for organization if you use reroute nodes very often. So let's go ahead and just change this name to semi-auto rifle, and then we'll go ahead and actually that's about it. So we can go ahead and copy and paste this again for a shotgun. So let's just go ahead and rename that. And then we can copy paste this one more time for our pistol. Now for a pistol, since it's a secondary weapon, we do need to change out a few of these variables. So first, let's actually connect up our shotgun to all the nodes. There we go. Last one. And then let's go ahead and connect our pistol to its nodes. Okay. Let's go back here and do this again. Here we go. Total ammo and then clip ammo. There we go. So we need to change out this primary weapon attached for the secondary weapon attached. We need to change this primary total ammo to secondary total ammo. And then let's go ahead and set the secondary total ammo. And then we need to set all of these as well. So let's just drag these underneath first. Connect this and this. Remove these. There we go. Set this. Then we need to fire rate, damage, and type. So fire rate, damage, and type. There we go. Connect this. Connect this. And finally connect this. And then we need to change this out to secondary weapon attached. Let's go ahead and move this over. And set this to true. Go ahead and change this print string to secondary attached. And there we go. Now the reason that we're not connecting these all to the same one, all of these primaries, is because later we will be changing the fire rate and the damage, so we can't just send them all to the same place. So I believe that's about it. Actually, let's go ahead and do one more thing down here in the pistol. So just to make sure we don't switch to our secondary when we already have our primary picked out, let's go ahead and put a branch between these two right here. And let's get primary weapon attached. Check that. And if primary weapon is not attached, then we switch weapon. The reason I'm doing this is because if we already have a primary weapon out, then we don't want to switch to our secondary weapon when we pick up a secondary weapon. So let's go ahead and just drag this out. And actually, let's go ahead and put a print string out here to show that we have picked up the extra ammo. Ammo picked up. And then we can just go ahead and copy paste this to all of these. There we go. And connect. Okay, so now that we've got all the information for when we pick up our weapon, we need to actually go in here and switch it. So let's go ahead and open up our switch weapon. And actually, before we do this, we need to add all of the skeletal meshes to our mesh. So what we can do is we can just copy this. Let's go ahead and put auto rifle here. And then let's do shotgun and then pistol. Let's go ahead and move this down. Actually, let's not mess with that. So what we can do is we need to go to here and change this skeletal mesh. So I'm actually just going to rename this to the semi-auto rifle, because this is the one we're going to be using for a semi-auto rifle. Let's go ahead and change this to our shotgun. change this to our pistol. And change this to our rifle. And then we also need to do one more thing. We need to go here and uncheck this visibility on all of them. So we can just go ahead and highlight all of them and uncheck visibility. So we actually need to get a reference to all of these now. Let's go ahead and drag those out. Okay, we're missing shotgun. And then we need to set this to invisible again. So set visibility and then make sure this is false. The reason that we're setting the visibility again is because when we switch a weapon, it's going to turn on the visibility. So when we switch the weapon again, we need to hide it. So let's go ahead and connect all these targets. Let's comment this, weapons to hide. And then let's move this out of the way a bit. Now let's drag off of this, and we're going to get another switch weapon. I'm sorry, we're going to get a switch on. There we go. So let's connect this here. And then let's start with our auto rifle again. So this is actually going to be pretty simple. So let's go ahead and on our auto rifle, let's reroute this. Let's get our auto rifle, and then let's set visibility to true now. Let's hook up this node, move this up a bit, and then we actually need to get a reference to this mesh 2P. And what we're going to do is we're going to set animation. Now, the reason that we're setting animation is because this is where you would play a reload this is where you would play a switch weapon animation. So I actually don't have one, but I'm just going to play my iron sights. There we go. But if you did have a switch weapon animation, this is where you would use that. And after that, we just need to set equipped weapon to this auto rifle here. Actually, since we already have this weapon to equip here, let's just reroute. Do this again. Let's do this one more time. And then let's set the equipped weapon right there. Actually, that's a bit ugly, so let's go ahead and set this one more time over here. And then let's connect these, move this out a bit, and there we go. So you can go ahead and comment this, auto rifle, and then let's go ahead and copy everything except this auto rifle right here. And then we'll paste, 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 and paste. Because we're actually doing the ones for hands right now. So let's go ahead and move these over. Let's get these a bit more organized. And there we go. And for our hands, let's go ahead and remove this set visibility here, because we don't need to set the visibility of hands. We just need to set the animation and equip the weapon, which is going to be hands. So from there, what we need to do is we need to connect all of these. So let's go ahead and connect those. Pistol, and then finally hands. And then we just need to connect these types. So there we go. That one. that one, and that's it. Okay, so after that, we just have to rename these. So let's do semi-auto rifle, and then shotgun, and then pistol, and finally hands. So after that, all we have to do is we have to get the reference to each of these. So then shotgun and then pistol. And hands isn't going to show anything. It's just going to play a different animation. So let's go ahead and connect these. And there we go. So we can go ahead and compile and save. Now, we can actually go ahead and test this out. It's going to look a bit funky because we haven't actually set up the animations or the holding for any of these weapons yet. So let's go ahead and click play. As you can see, my arms are a bit messed up right now. But if we walk up to the pistol, there's the pistol. And then we can go ahead and walk up to the shotgun. The shotgun is attached. We also can't pick up any of these. But if we move over to this pistol, we picked up the pistol. And as you can see, it didn't drop any of those. So we actually need to go in here and edit our weapon pickup and go to our event graph. And on this pickup, at the very end here, we need to pick up weapon and then we need to destroy the actor. Let's go ahead and destroy actor, compile, save. So now we can actually go back, click play again. Let's go ahead and resume this. And when we pick up our weapon, it's now destroyed and in our inventory. So when you go to try to pick up a shotgun, it won't pick that up, but since we don't have another secondary, it will pick up the pistol. Now, if you can see, these weapons are floating. If you wanted to change that, all you'd have to do is move them down, and then you can actually come in here to the weapon pickup, go to the viewport, and you can rotate each one of these weapons to the side. So let's go ahead and do that. Just 90 degrees. And finally the pistol. Compile, save, and then we just need to move these to the ground. So now when we click play, the shotgun is now moved down, but that's the only one that we moved to the ground. So if we actually go here, click end, and end on this, it will set it on the ground. And now we have these weapons just laying here. So we can go pick them up. There we go. We can pick up the weapons. The next thing that we need to do is be able to see the information on our screen. So let's go ahead and add that information to our HUD so we can see what kind of weapon we have and the amount of ammo. So let's go ahead and open our HUD. There we go. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to add a vertical box. Let's go ahead and search vertical box. And then let's go ahead and move this down right above our health and stamina. Just make this a bit bigger. Okay. So after that, we need to add two text box. So actually, we're not going to add a text box. We're going to add a regular text. Text box allows the people that are playing your game to be able to actually edit it. We don't want that. So we're just going to add text. Okay. So as you can see, we need to make this a bit bigger. Let's go ahead and drag this up. Then we're going to select our text box. We're going to set them in the middle. And then get the next text block and set these in the middle. We're also going to want to select fill. Okay, after we've done that, we're going to go ahead and rename this to weapon type. And then we're going to name this one ammo type. And then we need to go ahead and anchor our vertical box to the middle, and then compile, save. Now, let's go here, let's create a new binding, and then this binding is going to be to get our weapon type. And it's actually pretty simple. So what we need to do is we need to get player character. We need to cast that to our FPC. We're going to go ahead and connect this. Do that right there. And then we're going to drag off of this, and we're going to get equipped weapon. So, after that, we actually can't just hook this up right here, because it's not compatible with text. So what we need to do is we need to first make this a string by using toString. And then from there, we can connect this string value to the return value. There we go. And then we can just connect this, move that over a bit, and finally we need to add our print string for debugging. So let's just do cast failed at fpc underscore HUD dash get underscore weapon type underscore text underscore 0. Then we can compile, save. If we go over here and click play, you can see that it says auto rifle. Now the reason that it says auto rifle is because auto rifle is default for what we have right now. So we can just go ahead and walk up to the semi-auto rifle or the pistol, and then that'll be right there. But as you can see, the spaces weren't spaced out. So we need to actually go into our weapon system, and we need to go to the weapon type enum, and we can just add spaces in between auto rifle, and then add a dash here between semi auto rifle, and then there we go. Go ahead and save. Let's see this again. And there we go. So now we can pick up our pistol and our shotgun. There we go. And as you can see, if you have a secondary already attached, what it'll do when you run over a primary is it'll automatically go to that weapon. But if you have a primary attached and you go over a secondary, it won't pick that up. Well, it will pick it up, it just won't equip it. So, and the way I got my weapons to be laid out like this is you can actually just go here, click on any of these, and then in your weapon system, you can just go and change the type right here. And you can also change is random type and can pick up. So let's go ahead and go back to our HUD. There we go. Need to go back to our designer. Let's go to our ammo type. So for ammo type, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go into content, text, and then create binding. Let's just move this over. Get this one over a bit too, because this one's going to be a little more complicated. Now, we need to get player character again, and do our same cast, and then hook this up, and then we need to drag off of FPC and get equipped weapon, and then we need to do a switch on weapon type enum. There we go. Let's go ahead and do this, and let's put our print string in here. Cast failed at fpc underscore HUD dash get underscore ammo type underscore text underscore 0. There we go. Now, the reason that we're using this switch on enum is because auto rifle, semi-auto rifle, and shotgun are all primary weapons, but pistol is a secondary weapon. So we have to check the different variables for primary total ammo and primary clip ammo to get the auto rifle, semi-auto rifle, and shotgun, but we need to check the secondary clip and total ammo to get the pistols. So let's go ahead and do a reroute node. And let's hook all of these up to the same one since we're getting primary ammo for each of these. I'm just going to drag this up here. And then we actually need to drag off of this, get a reroute node. Let's reroute this over here again. Organize this just a bit. And then we need to get primary total ammo and get primary clip ammo. There we go. Let's go ahead and move this one above. And then we're actually going to use a new type of node. It's called append. It's append string right here. We're going to add a pin, and in B, we're going to put a /. We're going to connect clip ammo to the top one, and total ammo to the bottom. Now what that's doing is it's creating a string by adding the primary clip ammo, the /, and then the primary total ammo. So we actually need to hook this up to a new variable that we're going to have to create. We need to create one called ammo count. It's a string. So once you've created that, just go over here, hook this up, and then we can actually just connect this right there. And then we're done for getting our primary total ammo and clip ammo. Just drag this over this way, connect this one, and we're going to use a get right here to get the ammo count. There we go. Okay. So let's go over here again. Let's do get secondary clip ammo. Where are you? There you are. Get secondary clip ammo and get secondary total ammo. There we go. Okay. And then we can just go ahead and do this append again. Connect those two. And organize them a bit better. There we go. Move those down. And boom. We're done. So we can go ahead and set this again. Hook that up to your pistol. And then finally we need to do hands. The hands, we're just going to reroute. And we're going to set ammo count to blank. That way it doesn't try to show up any ammo for hands. And we can just connect this right here. Connect this right here. And we're done. So if you have any other secondary weapons, what you can do is you can just add a reroute node like this, and then connect them all to this thing, and then drag it over to your set ammo count. So now we can just compile and save, and go back over here. And as you can see, we don't have any ammo, but if we pick up our pistol, now we have our 9 clip ammo and 36 total ammo, and if we get our shotgun, we have our 8 clip ammo and 40 total ammo. And if I actually drag out one more of these to where we have 2 auto rifles, you can see that our ammo has been added to total ammo. The next thing that we're going to want to do is we're going to add poses for each of the different weapons. So to do this, we need to open up our animation blueprint for the first person character. And then in the event graph, what we need to do is get event blueprint update animation. Need to get owning actor. And then cast to our FPC. Let's do that. we need to get equipped weapon. We actually need to create a variable called current weapon type based off of the weapon type enum. And then we're going to go ahead and set this right here. So let's do this. Weapon type enum. And then set. Drag right there. Then on cast failed, let's go ahead and do our print string. Cast failed at first person anim BP dash event graph. There we go. After that, we need to come over here, get is valid. Then we need to try get pawn owner. Put that there. And then create a boolean called b is in air. Let's go ahead and set this. Off is valid. And then get movement component. And from here, we need to get is falling. And if so, we'll do that. And then we need to get is moving. Let's go ahead and go there. Drag off of this again. Get velocity. And drag off of here. Get vector length. And then we need a greater than 0. And put that right there. So let's go ahead and get this. Let's comment that is moving and is in air. There we go. And then let's go ahead and compile and save. Now we need to go to the animation graph. Now, the first thing that we need to do for the animation graph is we need to set a base pose. So we're going to actually get play first person idle. And then off of this, get slot. And then in here, we're going to select, there we go, arms. I'm going to get a local 2 component. And from here, we're going to modify a bone. Now, under this details panel, what we need to do is we need to uncheck transform and uncheck scale and uncheck alpha. So all we need is the rotation. So if you don't have this base rotation right here, all you have to do is create a new variable and then set that to a rotator. So we're just going to drag this off right here. Put that there. Now mine is currently set to negative 6.68101 on the roll. Off of this, I'm just going to get a component to local and then cache pose. We're actually going to name this pose base pose. So now we have a base pose for our animation. Let's just compile, save, and then we need to go right here and get hand. We're going to do the right hand. Now let's compile, save. Now that we have our base pose, I'm going to go here and work on a result. So we need to get the current weapon type, and then we need to drag off of this and get blend poses, weapon type enum. There we go. I need to right-click this and add pins for auto rifle, semi-auto rifle, shotgun, pistol, and hands. Let's go ahead and do that. And actually, let's remove this and let's get an order. Pistol, and then hands. There we go. Pile, save really quick. After we've done that, let's go ahead and connect our animation pose to our result. Let's compile it again. There we go. Now, let's create our pose for our fully auto rifle. So we're going to get base pose right there. Move this over. Local to component. And then we're actually going to get a new node here. It's called toBoneIK. And this is really helpful because it allows a bone, like lower arm left, to be attached to lower arm right, for example. It will try to follow the bone that you attach it to. So let's go ahead and set the IK bone to lower arm left. And then let's change this to bone space. Allow stretching. Scroll down here. Now, our effector space bone name is the bone that it's going to try to follow. So we're going to try to get it to follow hand_right. And then we can go ahead and change this to 7.749, 17.837, and 10.25. Then we're going to go ahead and go down here and save. We're actually going to add these numbers to the effector location as well. So 7.749, 17.837, and 10.25. After that, let's go to component to local and drag this into our auto rifle. Compile, save. And there we go. As you can see, we now have an animation pose. Now the cool thing about toBoneIKs is you can actually come in here and you can move it back and forth in whichever direction you want. So then that just allows you to be able to manipulate this a lot more easy. Now that we've done that, we're going to go ahead and do the same thing for our semi-auto rifle pose. So let's just copy all of this, paste it down here. We're going to plug this into semi-auto rifle. And then same for shotgun. But we're going to edit that, and then pistol is the same. We're going to add a lot more onto pistol. And then finally we have hands, which we will copy from pistol, because there is also a lot that goes on down there. So let's go ahead and comment these. Semi-auto rifle. And auto rifle. Now let's work on the shotgun a bit. We're just going to add a few things to this. So let's move this out of the way. We're actually going to add something called transform modified bone. So let's add that right there. Component pose there. Component to local. And then we're actually going to uncheck scale and uncheck settings. So let's go here to translation. Actually, let's go to bone to modify. We're going to modify the index finger. So we need to modify index, where is it? Index finger 1, right. There we go. We're going to go to rotation. We're going to add to existing. And then now we can actually just go here and change how much it's rotated. So if we compile and then go ahead and hook this up to our pistol. Then go over here and change the current weapon type to pistol. There we go. Let me just compile. We can actually click on our modify bone again. And as you can see, we can go in here and we can just rotate it to fit the pistol. There we go. Compile, save. Actually, since we're working on our shotgun and not our pistol though, we need to connect this to the shotgun, and that's where our shotgun will be used. So let's go ahead and comment this so I can remember which one it is. There we go, shotgun, and move this around. There we go. So this one is going to be our pistol. Let's go ahead and move this over. This one too. We're going to create 3 different nodes here. So let's go ahead and grab another one of these transform modify bones. We're going to add that there. Another one right here, and another one right here. We're going to keep this one to the index finger. We're going to change this to the right thumb. Let's see, right thumb 2. And then this one to right thumb 3. There we go. Just connect these. There we go. I'm actually going to not have a translation pin. And to existing is good. Then also not have a translation on this one. So there we go. Let's compile, save, and actually need to hook this up to our pistol first, and compile, save, and then let's get this into a better position for what a pistol would look like. So it's about right there. Let's move this down to where he's grabbing underneath the pistol. There we go. It's a little bit hard to see. That's about right. So then let's go ahead and get this thumb right here, move this out a bit, and then get the third thumb, move this in to where it's more of a grip. Now let's actually rotate this finger up, and there we go. Let's move this arm down a little bit. There we go. Good enough for now. We'll be able to see it better in a bit. So let me compile, save. Just to see what this looks like. I can actually already see that we're cast failing here. So let's go back to our event graph. Actually, let's just remove this cast failed here. Let's compile, save, play. Now when we pick up that, as you can see, weapon is there. Let's see the more dramatic switch. Let's go to our pistol, and there we go. Now our pistol is still not anchored correctly. We'll change this. So as you can see, our hands are in the correct position. The only reason that this specific weapon is working right now is because this is the one that came by default. If we pick up this weapon, it's still going to be there because we haven't assigned these to the socket just yet. So what we need to do to fix that problem is we need to go into our blueprints, open up our FPC, and then let's go to our construction script. Let's grab references to all of these, grab them, drag them out, and put them where the target is at. And then we're missing pistol, so let's grab that one as well. Let's move this down, organize these just a bit, and compile, save, Now when we go here and we pick up our assault rifle, there it is, and it's actually firing as well. So we can pick up our pistol, change to that, and as you can see, it's in the socket. What we're going to do on our animation blueprint graph for now is we're going to actually go ahead and add hands. So let's go ahead and just copy, let's just do this one right here. Come on, grab this, copy, paste, grab this one, do 2 of those, and then this one right here. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and hook these up. So let's just do that really quick. And final connection. Put that in the hands. Let's go ahead and switch the current weapon type to hands. So we can see what this looks like. File. There we go. So what we're going to do for hands is we're actually just going to move these down out of the view of the player. So to do that, we need to assign these modified bones to the correct bone. We're actually going to do upper arm left and upper arm right. Then we can just go over here, move these out of the way. File first. Wrong one. This one, just move it a bit. And there we go. Compile, save. Now when we go over here, click play, it's no longer in your view. So there we go. Go ahead and just organize this a bit better. Then we will close out of the animation graph for now. Okay, that was the pistol. Go ahead and comment this. Let's move this over a bit first. Comment this out. Pistol. And hands. Go ahead and move this over. There we go. And expand this a little bit. And there we go. And compile and save. What we're going to do in our weapon system is we're going to add firing functions for the semi-auto rifle, shotgun, and pistol. So let's go ahead and do that really quick. Just go here to add function. And let's do semi-auto rifle. Let's do auto rifle. Actually, we need to do fire. There we go. Let's do the same for semi-auto. And then do another one for the shotgun. And another one for the pistol. There we go. Okay, so now that we have our functions, the first thing that we're going to do inside of fire pistol is we need to check to see if there is any ammo left in your inventory. So let's go ahead and open up the weapon system. Let's go and get secondary clip ammo. And we're going to get a branch as well. Let's connect this really quick. We need to make sure that secondary clip ammo is greater than or equal to 1. There we go. Just connect this to our branch. And get this a little bit more organized. Now, if you do have ammo left over, what we need to do is we need to go drag off of this one, subtract by 1, and then we need to set the total clip ammo to That's all we have to do for checking ammo. After we finish checking the ammo, we need to grab a reference to the mesh. We're actually going to drag off of this and get anim instance. And off of this return value, we're going to do montage play. This really quick. We're going to play the montage fire. There it is, right there. Okay. Again, let's just organize this a bit more. Move on to spawning projectile. Now to do this, we're going to spawn actor from class. We're going to select the pistol projectile BP. After we've done that, let's go ahead and hook this up. Right there. And then we need to always spawn ignore collisions. That's it. So we can drag off of this spawn transform, get make transform, and this is where it's going to get a bit tricky. So to get the location of the muzzle of this pistol, what we're going to do is we're going to get the socket transform. So we need to get a reference to the pistol and drag off of this, get socket transform, and you need a socket name. So the way that we're going to get this is we're going to open up this, we're going to double click on our pistol, go to the skeleton, and then as you can see, right here we have one called muzzle flash. So I'm going to go ahead and use that for the location that we're firing out of. So let's go ahead and go back to our fire pistol. Let's enter in muzzle flash. And then we're going to break the transform. And let's move this over a bit. There we go. And let's just reroute. Here. There we go. Then we need to get control rotation. Target is self. Return value is going to go into this rotation right here. This is going to go into location. And then we actually need to drag off of this as well and reroute it because we're going to use it past it. So that is all we need to spawn the projectile. So we're done with this. Let's go ahead and move on. And the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to play a sound. Let's go ahead and play sound at location. Set this up. There. We're just going to select pistol. Let's see. There we go. Pistol fire cue. Okay. Now let's drag these out. Route it again. And again, this one. There we go. And then we need to spawn emitter at location. This is going to be the actual muzzle flash. So spawn emitter at location. And rotation is here. And location is there. Move these over a bit. Going to select pistol, muzzle flash. There we go. Compile and save. Let's go ahead and move on to the shotgun. So for the shotgun, we're actually going to do almost the exact same thing. So let's just go ahead and copy paste all of this into the fire shotgun function. There we go. First thing that we need to change is this right here. We don't need secondary, we need total. Or sorry, we need primary. Let's go ahead and hook those up. Remove this. Get a bit more organized again. Then we need to reset this. There we go. That stays the same. Go ahead and change this to shotgun. And this to shotgun again. Let's see. Shotgun A? Yeah, there we go. Okay, shotgun A fire Q. And shotgun muzzle flash. There we go. Okay, that, that. And if you had a different gun, you might have to change the socket name, but for my shotgun, the socket name is the same as the pistol. But we do need to change the target. There we go. And that is it for the shotgun. Let's go ahead and compile, save again. And let's go ahead and open up the semi-auto rifle. And again, we're just going to copy paste all of this here. Move that out a bit. Connect that. There we go. We can keep all of this the same. What we do need to change, though, is this right here. Let's get a reference to the semi-auto rifle. And actually, the socket name on this one is different. So we need to open this up, go ahead and check the skeleton. Okay, so it's just called muzzle. Let's go ahead and go back to our FPC. Semi-auto rifle. Okay, so actually let's put it in the right blueprint. So semi-auto rifle. And then going to connect that right there. And move this. There we go. Okay. Now we just need to change this. We're going to use rifle. There we go. And rifle A fire Q. And rifle muzzle flash. There we go. Compile, save. Then we can move on to our auto rifle. For our auto rifle, what we need to do is we need to create a new variable. We're going to name this fire auto rifle timer handle. Okay. Oh, all right. It's already there. So there it is. And let's go to our event graph. Okay. There we go. So let's go back to the fire auto rifle. Let's start on this. So we're actually going to need 2 branches. Let's do that. And then we need to get is reloading. Right there. Look this up. And if they are reloading, we need to get a reference to this and clear timer by handle. And this will stop them from shooting and allow them to, this will stop them from shooting while they're reloading. So let's reroute that so it looks a bit better. There we go. Okay. Now, if they are not reloading, we're going to go to this branch and we're going to get the clip ammo. We're going to do greater than or equal to 1. It's up to the condition. Move these over a bit. And then if it's false, we're going to clear the timer again. There we go. If it's not false, we're going to set the clip ammo to this minus 1, just like the other blueprints. There we go. Again, let's organize this a bit better. And then we can just go and copy paste all of this part right here from the other blueprints. So let's just this stuff out of the way and copy this. There we go. And after this set, go ahead and hook up our montage. There we go. So let's remove this. Let's get a reference to our auto rifle, target, and then let's go ahead and put flash back on the end of that. And then actually, the semi-auto rifle is using both the sound and the emitter from the auto rifle. So all we need to change is the projectile. There it is. Okay. And that is it. So let's compile, save, close out of our firing functions, and go back to the event graph. Now we're going to start adding the firing logic for the weapons. So let's start on the firing logic. So the first thing we need is we need to get our input action fire, and then we need to get is reloading, drag off of that, and get a branch. Hook this up to the pressed, move this up a bit, and reroute. Keep this clean. There we go. And then we need to get equipped weapon and do a switch on enum. There we go. We're going to connect this to the false. So that way they cannot fire while they are reloading. There we go. And now let's go ahead and reroute. And let's reroute these as well. Actually, all we need to do for these is call the function. So let's just go ahead and put those down there. Do that one, shotgun, and pistol. So fire semi-auto rifle, fire shotgun, and fire pistol. Organize these a bit. Over here. This is where it gets a bit complicated. So let's go ahead and set our primary fire rate. Sorry, we need to get our primary fire rate. And then we're going to set timer by event. Go ahead and hook this up right here. Move these up a bit. And then let's do a custom event. There we go. Okay, custom event. Here we go. Start fire auto rifle. Let's hook this up right here. There we go. And off of this return value, we're going to want to get our fire auto rifle timer handle. Set that right there to the return value. And then we're going to call fire auto rifle one time. There's no hangups. There we go. And on this start fire auto rifle, all we're going to do is drag off fire auto rifle and hook that up. There we go. Now let's go back over here to released, and we're going to get a branch. Then is timer active by handle. From there, we're going to grab this and hook that up right there. There we go. And if it is, we're going to clear timer by handle. And reroute. And hook that up right there. Okay. Compile. Save. Actually, we need to make sure we do one more thing. And click this looping right here. Then we can compile and save. After that, we need to go ahead and remove all the old firing logic. So let's just go ahead and delete all of this. Got this part in there. There we go. And again, compile. Let's go ahead and click play. And there we go. So as you can see, it is shooting. It doesn't have a projectile to shoot yet because we haven't made anything for our projectiles. So we'll work on that in a bit. But as you can see, the muzzles flash and everything's work. So we can shoot, and at the end of our ammo, it won't work anymore. And then we can go ahead and try it out again with the semi-auto rifle. And again, shotgun. And one last time with the auto rifle. There you go. And stop shooting. So now that we've got our firing logic in, what we're going to do is we're going to go to our projectiles and we're going to go ahead and finish them up really quick. So what we need to do is in the event graph, we're going to get a delay. And then we're going to drag off of that and destroy actor. This is just so when you fire a bullet and it doesn't hit anything, it's not going to keep going and still be in the world. Let's go ahead and just put 5 seconds on that. And then we just need to change the tracer. This is for the auto rifle. So there we go. Tracer right there. Compile, save, and that's it. Let's just go ahead and copy this. And hook these up to all the rest of them. Again. Save. That one up. Tracer. Let's just do the auto rifle tracer for this one. I don't have a separate tracer for that. Save. And last one. There we go. Tracer. Shotgun. Okay. Compile. Save. Now if you go back here, click play. And it's kind of hard to see on the pistol, actually everyone except for the shotgun. So let's just go ahead and pick up the shotgun. And if you watch closely, you can see projectiles. It's still very hard to see, but you should be able to see them on your screen. So let's go ahead and come back here. Let's close out of these because we are done with projectiles for now. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to add our reload logic. So to do this, we need to add 2 functions. We're going to add one called reload magazine and reload shotgun. Now, the reason that we're doing this is because shotguns reload differently than regular weapons, so we need to add a timer and some other things to make this a little bit more realistic. So after you've got these 2 functions, let's just go ahead and go back to the event graph, and we're going to go down here where some blank space is, and we're going to get our reload action input. So from here, we need to get is reloading, and go to branch, hook this up to pressed, and from there, we're going to drag off of this false, and we need to get equipped weapon. Let's go and get a switch on weapon type. Hook that up to our false over there. Move this over a bit. Okay. Now, what we need to do is we're going to reroute the auto rifle and semi-auto rifle to the same one. Going to reroute the shotgun a bit down here because it's got some more complicated logic. And then we're going to read out the pistol right there. Move this up a bit. And there we go. So we need a branch here, branch, and a branch here as well, and one down there. Okay. Go ahead and hook these up. Move them over a bit. Now what we need to do is we need to get total ammo. And let's do the same for the secondary total ammo. And we need to make sure that it's greater than or equal to 1. Let's just hook that up to our condition. And move this over a bit. Copy paste that. And hook that one up to the branch as well. So from here, we're going to get our reload magazine function and hook that up to both the pistol and the shotgun. Or sorry, the pistol and the rifles themselves. And after that, we need to set is reloading to true. There we go. Okay. So, onto the shotgun. So, actually, for the shotgun, we don't need this branch. What we're going to do is we're just going to set timer by event, and then we're going to create a custom event, and we're going to call this reload shotgun, and then we're just going to put event on the end because we have a function called, oh, I'm sorry, no, we have a function called reload shotgun. So let's hook this up to our event. We're going to set the time to 0.5, set it to looping. And then we're going to set this reload shotgun timer handle to the return value right there. Okay. And now what we need to do is get reload shotgun. We need to add an input for it. And we're going to aim it timer. We're going to get a timer handle right there. So we can go ahead and grab this reload shotgun timer handle, plug that into our timer, and there we go. Now, what we can do is we can comment this out. Okay, comment. It's not working. Not sure why that's not working. We'll do it later. So let's go ahead and open up our reload shotgun, and let's get started. So with our reload shotgun, we need to get the clip ammo, and we need a less than 8. 8 is our clip ammo total. And then we need to get a branch. Actually, let's go ahead and put another branch beside there. Now let's hook that up. There we go. Okay. Let's check off our false, reroute, and then let's reroute our timer as well. Reroute. There we go. Move this up a bit. And we're going to go ahead and clear timer by handle. So let's clear, there we go, right there. Hook that up. And after that, we need to set is reloading to false. There we go. Okay. So now that we've got that done, we're going to connect this one to the true. And we're going to check and see if primary total ammo is greater than or equal to 1. There we go. Condition. And if that is false, we're going to clear the timer as well. Go ahead and move that over again. There we go. So next what we need to do is we need to actually add some ammo. So let's go ahead and get the clip ammo and total ammo. And let's hook total ammo up to there. And let's add integer plus integer and 1. There we go. Move this up a bit. Now, actually, we need to get the clip ammo there. So let's go ahead and set the clip ammo. There we go. True. Okay. Now let's set the total ammo. So connect that one. And we need to get the primary total ammo and subtract. Here we go. Organize this a bit more. And then we need to set is reloading to true. Okay. Compile, save. Now, if we go back to our viewport right here, we can click play, and we can go pick up our shotgun. Go ahead and fire off all of that, and then when we press the reload button, it will slowly reload our shotgun and stop at 8. Here we go. So we've now completed the reloading for our shotgun. So let's go ahead and move on to the reload magazine function. First thing that we needed to do for our reload magazine function is we need to get equipped weapon. We need to do a switch. Hook that up. There we go. Move this over a bit. And then we're actually going to reroute our auto rifle and our semi-auto rifle same place and reroute our pistol down this way. Move this up a bit, and there we go. So, first thing, we need a branch. Let's go ahead and hook that branch up here, and then we need to get primary total ammo and primary clip ammo. Let's go ahead and put clip on top, and we're going to put this right there. So, first thing, we're going to reroute both of these right there. And then let's go ahead and hook this one up. We need a less than, and let's put 30 right there. Okay, put that up to the condition. Let's branch over a bit, and let's put this up there too. Okay, so let's go ahead and reroute again, and again for this one. And we need to get a subtract here. So let's do subtract, but we need to hook this up to the B slot right there. So 30 is our total ammo for the clip. After that, we need to get a less than or equal to, and we're going to go ahead and hook that up right there. So let's move this reroute over this way, and let's put a branch right here. Okay, so after that, we need to reroute this down here. I'm going to move this up a bit, and let's hook this up to the true. Okay, so from here, going to reroute this over this way. And we're going to also, let's actually move this up a bit. This is going to get confusing. Let's reroute this one again for our clip ammo. Put that up right there. Because this needs to go over this way too. So, and then let's do one more reroute for this one. Alrighty. Now we have these together. There we go. Now, off of this true, we're going to set the primary total ammo. Let's go ahead and set this and hook this up to the true. Now what we're going to set this to is a subtract. So we need an int minus an int. And we're going to hook that right there. And let's go ahead and hook up the clip ammo, or sorry, the total ammo to the top one up here. And we're going to get the difference between the clip ammo and 30. We're going to hook that right there. There we go. Now, on our false, what we need to do is set the primary clip ammo. Go ahead and do that. And we're going to set this to the clip ammo plus total ammo. Clip ammo plus total ammo. There we go. Okay. So, after that, we set the clip ammo to 30. And then we're going to set the total ammo down here to 0. And then right here, we're going to get player character. And then get actor location. And let's go ahead and play sound at location. Let's just do play sound at location. We're going to do rifle reload. Okay, rifle underscore reload. There we go. And we're going to set this here and here. Compile, save. Now, for the pistol, we're going to want to do the exact same thing, except there are a few minor things we want to change. So let's go ahead and copy paste this. First thing, we need to change the secondary clip ammo, sorry, the primary clip ammo to, actually, let's just do both of these really quick. So clip ammo on top, total ammo there, hook these up, go, connect that. But we're going to go ahead and change this 30 to 9 because that is our clip ammo for our pistol. Again here. And then let's go ahead and change these over here as well. So this is secondary total ammo and secondary clip ammo, secondary total ammo, and secondary clip ammo. Again, let's go ahead and change that one to 9. And that is all. So that's our reloading for the rifles and the pistol. Let's go ahead and comment these. Pistol and rifles. Compile, save. Let's get started on setting up the dropping logic for our weapons. So, go back to the event graph. Let's create a new function called drop weapon. There we go. And the first thing we need in here is we need to go to our weapon system variables and get equipped weapon. And then we need to switch on. There we go. There. And then we need to do a spawn actor from class. And we need to hook up everyone except for hands. The reason we're doing this is because we don't want people to be able to drop their hands. So go ahead and do that. And then let's go down here and get player character. And drag out of this. We'll get actor location. And then we just need to hook up that right there. There we go. Okay. Then let's go ahead and select our weapon pickup BP. That way we can drop our weapon pickup, which is this right here. So after that, what we need to do is we need to assign it to the correct type of weapon. So go ahead and drag off of this. We're going to set dropped weapon on our spawned weapon pickup. Then let's go ahead and reroute this. And reroute again that way. And then we need to get another equipped weapon. So let's go ahead, drag that down this way, reroute it. And let's do another switch. Okay, so let's hook this up. And there we go. So now what we need to do is we need to set weapon type, set type. There it is. So we need to set the type 3 more times for the auto rifle, the semi-auto rifle, and shotgun and pistol. So let's go ahead and do that. Just change these variables. Semi-auto. And there we go. Now, we need to also hook these up to the target, because those got unhooked. And then we need to actually reroute right there, 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 and there. Down a bit. Keep this a bit cleaner, we can just hook that up right there. Okay. That one. Okay. So the next thing we need to do is we need to set the total ammo. So let's go ahead and reroute this again. And let's set total ammo right there. Now for the auto rifle, we need to get the variable primary weapon total ammo. Go ahead and put that right there. Then we can go ahead, move this over. We also need to reroute it one more time. Set clip ammo. We're just going to do the same thing. We're going to set the clip ammo to the primary clip ammo right here. That up. And then we need to do one more thing. And we just need to set the total ammo and clip ammo on our character's side to 0. Go ahead and do that. There we go. And there we go. Okay. So now we can just go ahead and here we can just copy all this and use it for the semi-auto rifle and the shotgun. There we go. Let's just set that up and pick this up. This one. So now we need to do basically the same thing, but for the secondaries. We're just going to go ahead and copy and paste this 2 and then replace it. Go ahead and hook these 2 up. And then we can go ahead and just get the secondary total ammo. Hover over that. Let's just drag it out. Total ammo. Up. Clip ammo as well. That up. And then we can go ahead and change total ammo and clip ammo. Okay. Worked. Go ahead and compile. Then we can go ahead and go over here. And we're going to reroute all the primary weapons to one place. So let's just drag off of any one of these and reroute. Just hook that up. And then we need to reroute this up here. Reroute it again. There we go. And then we need to call generate weapon from our blueprint. Hook that up. We're actually going to do the same down here, so let's just do that. Generate weapon. And then we need to, on primary, need to set the primary weapon type. Set that to hands. And then we need to set primary weapon attached, false. And then we need to check and see if we have a secondary weapon. Basically what I'm going to do here is if you have a secondary weapon and you drop your primary weapon, it will switch to your secondary. Go ahead and do a branch. So if they have a secondary weapon, it's going to get the secondary weapon type. And we're going to set equipped weapon. Secondary weapon type. We can just put that on the true. And then we just need to call switch weapon. And let's just hook that up. There we go. So now we have true. If they don't have a secondary weapon, what we need to do is switch weapon. Select. Okay. So for our pistol, go ahead and go down here. We're going to we actually need to do secondary weapon type. Set that. Set that to hands. After that, we need to set secondary weapon attached to false. We need to get primary weapon attached. We're going to do the same thing. If they have a primary attached, when you drop your secondary, it'll switch to your primary. So that with the branch. Let's move this one down. So let's go ahead and get primary weapon type and set equipped weapon to that. And we're just going to do the switch weapon again. Put that up. Put that on our true. And then if not, we're just going to set equipped weapon to, actually it's already being set, so we just need to switch weapon. Go ahead and switch weapon and comment this. And we can go ahead and compile, save, go back here, go up to edit, project settings, input, drop weapon as G. So now what we need to do is we need to go into our FPC character, go to the event graph, and all we need to do is find some blank space, type in drop weapon. We need to get the action event for that. And then we get is reloading. Make sure they can't drop the weapon while it's reloading. Put our branch out here. Pressed. Reloading. And then we just need to call drop weapon. That on our false. File. Save. Okay, so one thing I forgot to do is set is drop weapon to true. If we don't do that, it's going to generate an entire new weapon when it drops the weapon. So go ahead and click play. We can test this out. And do that. Go ahead and fire a little bit, reload, fire some more. So we have 23 in our clip and 145 total ammo. Let's drop it. Walk away from it, come back. 23 and 145. So still the same weapon, still has the same ammo, which means that we were successful.